This is the Starlink Mini, and this is the way that I'm going to stay connected even when I'm out in the middle of nowhere. And so what I want to do is see if there's a way that I can mount this to the outside of my Jeep, because my Jeep is basically my adventure base camp. It's what I use to get out to location, to be able to film, or just to go on an adventure. Usually when I'm out, I'm using my Garmin InReach Mini to be able to stay connected. However, the Starlink Mini has opened up so many possibilities to be able to stay connected anywhere. And I know some of you say that, well, when you're out in nature, you shouldn't be always connected. However, I make videos for a living. I do adventure videos. And oftentimes I need to check things online. And also, if I'm like on a trail, it's good to have some sort of connection to the internet so that I can check conditions, I can check what's going on, I can stay in communication with my family back home, because you never know when you actually need to be somewhat connected. So yes, I agree with those of you that when you go out to nature, you want to be disconnected. I disconnect as well. But in my situation, it doesn't make sense to just be always disconnected. So up until now, I've been using the Starlink Mini with the mount that comes with it. So it has a little foot that you could stick, rotate the panel, and be able to get a clear connection. Now it also comes with a pole mount, and I've been using this with one of my camera magic arms to be able to hook it up and just like be able to position it in a way that kind of works, but I wanted a better, more permanent solution. So I actually had this guy reach out to me, just shot me an email, and he built this case for the Starlink Mini. It's from Lucas's print shop, so this is all 3D printed. And so what I want to do is test this out. I actually have never put this on yet, see how it works, and see if there's a way to be able to mount this on the outside of my Jeep so that I don't have to always be pulling it out to grab a connection. Because how the Starlink Mini works is that you have to rotate the panel to be able to get a clear angle of the sky and get a clear connection. But I have tested it driving. I tested it on another video where I was driving with it and it was still working. So my assumption is that I could stick this on the outside of my Jeep. I don't have to have a perfect alignment. And when I need to use it, I could just flip it on. And that way I'm not always having to set this up. I'm not always having to readjust it. I just turn it on whenever I'm out and I actually need some internet. And I also want to retest in motion if this is going to work, because on my plan, I have the $30 a month. It says technically you're not supposed to be able to work in motion, but I've driven with it in my dashboard and it worked in motion. So we'll test it again in this video. But let's set this up and get this somewhere mounted on the outside of the Jeep. Now when he sent me this mount, it came with this new foot that's 3D printed. And apparently this one doesn't work super well. So he just sent me a new one, which is great because I'm mounting it today and this just showed up. Essentially what this is a case and a foot, and it's got some different mounting holes on the foot. Now I personally like the black because it's gonna match my Jeep and it's gonna be a little bit more discreet on the outside of my Jeep. And so it just has these different screws on the outside of the panel, and you just put the Starlink right inside. And it's got this little thin piece of plastic that goes over it so you don't see the white panel and it's not blinding white. Now, I brought a drill down here and I completely forgot my bit, so hand screwing. And this has been a lot harder to put together. It just is taking a little bit more time. But look at this. That's nice. It's not white anymore. It's a nice black. And I think my plan, mount it up here on my roof rack. So I just installed this onto my Jeep. I haven't put anything on it yet, but this is a great spot to be able to put the Starlink, because it's going to go right over. And if this works, what I'll do is route the cables somewhere inside. But for now, I'm just going to have it come down, probably go to a window and just pop out a window for the time being, just to test it out. But this rack gives me a ton of flexibility to have it on top of the Jeep, so I don't have to have it in the cab somewhere, like looking out a window. That's nice. Sun's coming out, or trying to come out. Now, even just this alone is pretty awesome, because I could still use the original mounts. But this case I love it. But the one thing I want to test before we go any further is, does this affect the performance at all? Because we're putting something in front of, you know, the panel that gets the satellite signal. Now, I run this off of my DJI battery that I always carry with me, but in another video, I showed how you could use really small batteries to run this if you want to use like a USB-C. But for me, when I'm in this Jeep, I always have a big battery with me, so I'm always going to run it off that. Here's my drill that forgot to bring the bit. And yeah, this mess of cable. Let's plug this in. I have my iPad. My iPad does not have cellular. This is Wi-Fi only, so that's why I'm using it. And let's bring this up. So I'm gonna start the screen recording in 3, 2, 1. Now we're screen recording. All right, so now you can see what I'm seeing. Let's take a look. All right, calculating orientation. Waiting. This thing takes a couple minutes to boot up every time you use it. All right, so it says that we're misaligned here. So we'll turn it, turn. All right, so now we're properly aligned. Let's dig into this a little bit. Let's do a speed test with this shield on the front. We're getting like 80 megabits per second, not megabytes per second. In one of my previous videos, I accidentally said that. I meant megabits. So it definitely like jumps up, but then it falls off. Now, unfortunately, to really do this test right, I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna have to pull this panel off. I should have done this first. Run it without this on here to see what the difference is. Okay, so now let's test this again. I'm gonna pull up my iPad. We're gonna go 3, 2, 1, screen recording. We're back. Okay, now we're aligned. So let's do a speed test again. Hit speed test and let's go. Okay, I think we're pretty safe to say that it doesn't have a massive difference. Like, I was getting the same type of numbers when I was doing it with the thing on, without. Now, obviously I'll test this some more and I'm going to put it in there and play around with it, but it doesn't seem to affect the performance of the speed taking it in and out of the case. Now, my issue, why I'm getting such low readings, is probably because my Jeep's in the way. Like, I'm pointing it that direction and look what's in the way. So it's getting around the same. And that's why I want to mount this to the roof of my Jeep. But, you know, just by looking at that, it looks like, you know, the numbers are the same. So let's get this set up, mounted. So let's get this set up and figure out how we're going to mount this. All right, so we've got this all hooked up. I've got the footing on. Now we need to mount it to the top of the Jeep. And I just realized that I completely forgot the hardware to do that. So I'm gonna go home and grab the hardware, and then we're gonna get it mounted up on the roof. Okay, so I have some hardware here that we could use. Got these T-nuts. It looks like these will just fit in here, so I'm gonna push them through. The issue is I gotta make sure I have the right length so they're not too long. Looks like this bar needs to be pushed this way a tad, which that's not a problem. These need to be a little bit taller. Let's just add a few washers and then it should be the right height. All right, here's the moment of truth. Let's see if we can snap this on. Well, hold on. Yeah, I'll do it this way and then plug the power in. No, I'll plug the power in first so that I don't get in a situation where I can't get the cable in. Look at that. This cable that comes with the Starlink Mini is just ridiculously long. I mean, it's great if you need a super long cable, but I need like a quarter of the size and then I would have more than enough. So this always just becomes a tangled mess, especially when I'm like jumping in and out of the Jeep pretty quick. Overall, this mount could work super well to be like a permanent setup. So I could keep the feet always on my Jeep when I actually need Starlink. So like say I'm going out to go on a trail or something, I can put it up, have Starlink accessible, maybe run this cable through the inside of my Jeep here somewhere, just so I always have access to it, to a battery, and then just turn it on when I need it. But then if I like leave my Jeep, like walk away from it, go hiking, go mountain biking, something like that, I can just pop it off and throw it in the back so that someone doesn't come up and ends up taking it. Seems like a good way to do it. Now I just need to plug this in and we got to test it. Now when the Starlink gets going, it reads about 50 watts, but after it's booted up and it starts going, it then reads like 20. All right, let's pull up the Starlink app, and yeah, it says that it's misaligned, which of course is going to be misaligned because it's just on top of the Jeep. It says the tilt's incorrect and I need to turn it. However, let's just see what kind of speed we can get with it on top. And so I'm running the same speed test that we did earlier. Looks like it's getting 26 megabits per second. Now it's getting 46. Let's pull up a YouTube video. So let's go to my channel and let's just pull up one of these videos. How I filmed a documentary using the ZV-E1. And just like that, we are playing. Let's go to quality. It's at 720. It says we're at advanced 1080. Okay, now there we go. We're at 4K. And I'm having no issues playing this video. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen this video and you want to make documentary or you want to do kind of vlogs with a documentary feel, you should watch this video. It goes through everything we did when we went to Alaska to shoot a documentary for nonprofit. It's pretty cool. No issues playing this though. You can see this, I'm just letting this roll on the screen recording and I'm not having any issues whatsoever. All right, let me show you how easy this is to install now that it's all set up. So I grab my cable, plug it in, jump up here, snap it on, it's locked in, and turn on the power. All right, just like that, we are online. And it's downloading an update. So yeah, let's get this thumbnail. All right, I'm gonna do a screen recording in 3, 2, 1. All right, so I have my second channel pulled up and I'm gonna pull on shorts because these load every few seconds. And we're gonna drive around and see how this is working. I'll just letting these shorts play and I'll just flip through them. So, wow, that's up. Right, let's go this way. All right, I'm at a stoplight so I could check this out. It looks like it's still online. It says it's misaligned, but I'm still getting online. So let's flip through some more shorts. Looks like they're all loading, no problem. All right, let's go back to the Starlink app. I found a spot to chill for a minute. It's statistics. It looks like uptime. It's been, we could go to outages and we could see no signal received, no signal. So it's kind of pinging in and out. It's searching obstructed while I'm driving around. And you can see like when there's some consistency and then it drops out. So it's kind of going in and out. However, it's not losing the signal. And for me, this is fine because it's not like I'm going to be driving and working and like doing a bunch of stuff. Rather, what I want this for is if I'm like out off-roading and I want the ability to like have some maps pulled up and then like pause for a second, look at the map and not have to like try and find a signal with my cell phone because oftentimes where I go, there's no signal and, you know, have to pull out the Starlink, set it up each time to be able to get that signal. Rather, what I'd want to do is just have this mounted, have it on, be going, and then I could pause, come over here, look, you know, check some stuff out, you know, go to something like my maps, be able to like check something, look at the route, see what's going on, and not having to worry about having everything downloaded. I could go over my messenger, I could see what's going on with my family back home, I could make a phone call. There's so many useful things you need when you're out on the trail. And if I'm at camp, I can actually use this to work and whatnot. But having it mounted on top of the roof just makes the whole thing so much easier. I don't have to worry about setting it up each time. All right, well that works. I'll probably route this cable back through here, put it through this somewhere back there and have a battery set up. Let me show you how quickly I can pull this off now. So I just reach in here, pull down, pop this forward, off. And then if I want to put it back on, just and click. We're good. If you are interested in this mount from Lucas's print shop, I'll put a link down below the description. It's not an affiliate link. I'm not getting paid for this. This guy actually just sent it to me and I thought it was a cool product and it actually works really well. But if you are someone who wants to support this channel and you want to learn how to make adventure style or outdoor or travel vlogs, well, check out the Creator Film School. That's my course series where I teach you everything that I've learned over years of being on the platform teaching you YouTube, teaching you how to vlog and how to make videos with some story, and how to make money doing this whole thing. So I'll put a link down below in the description to where you can check that out. And if you want to see another video where I talk about all the features around the Starlink Mini, well, check out this video right here. I'll see you on the next one.